Everyone loves a wedding. I know I do. And one of the most famous weddings was the wedding feast at Cana. It was famous because Jesus and his mother attended it. As we heard in the gospel, at some point during the wedding feast, the wine ran out. This was very embarrassing because of the devotion that people in the Mideast have to being hospitable. And it also became very embarrassing for the newlyweds. It's interesting to note in this story from John's Gospel that it's not the waiter who noticed that the wine ran out, but our Blessed Mother. And she quietly says to Jesus, "They have no wine." Now, hidden in her words was not only an intuitive awareness of the power that her son possessed, but also a compassionate expression of her desire to try and remedy an awkward situation. At first, Jesus was curious as to why she would be making this request. "Woman, what is that to me? My hour has not yet come." What Jesus is saying to his mother is that this was not the hour in which he saw as a moment for him to reveal himself to the world. And yet, implicit in Mary's request is that he realized that this was the hour. And so the water jars were filled and brought to Jesus. And in the magnificent lines of the 18th century English poet Richard Crashaw, the unconscious waters saw their God and blushed. The first lesson that we learn from this miracle of Cana comes from Jesus. Jesus could have provided wine out of nothing, just as he made the world out of nothing. But he commanded that the wine servants bring their jars and fill them with water. So this simple gesture points out that we must not expect God to transform us without our bringing something to help bring about that transformation. God will surely make us peaceful and happy again, will free us from what enslaves us, will transform what is evil into what is good, but only on the condition that we bring the water of our own human efforts. The second lesson comes from Mary. As we all know, mothers have this incredible intuitive sense that seem to know what their children need and when they need it, even when they don't know or realize it. I've experienced that Mary, our mother, has a similar intuition, but it's a deep spiritual intuition. She sees when our hearts are empty of God's mercy. She knows what's causing our reservoir of grace to run dry. As our mother, she continually intercedes on our behalf, knowing what grace, what specific gift of the Holy Spirit that we need, even when we don't know what it is that we are seeking or in need of. One thing is certain: no one will ever call on her without being heard, nor will they ever ask for something and her not know exactly what they need, nor without finally being led to her divine Son, Jesus Christ, for whose sake she exists, for whose sake she was made pure, for whose sake she has been given to us. I'd like you just to take the prayer cards, the beautiful prayer cards that you used tonight. Just take that and look for a moment at this image of our Mother Perpetual Help. If you would do that just for a moment. Now just gaze at her, looking with compassion at you. She's telling you with her eyes that she sees your heart. She's tenderly embracing you with her eyes. Can you feel that? It's so important when you approach the icon that you step into the presence of her embrace and let the silence between you and her speak through her eyes. Ultimately, what Mary, our Mother Perpetual Help, is saying to us is this: I see your heart. I know your fears. I feel your pain. I sense your ambivalence. Simply speak your needs to me, and I will intercede with Jesus on your behalf. And don't worry about whether Jesus is asking you to do something that seems too difficult for you to do. As St. Paul says, echoing Jesus, "My grace is enough for you." In short, all those who come before the icon, Mary becomes their perpetual help, leading them toward Christ the Redeemer. He alone has life in him. He alone is life. He alone is the way toward the Father, in which peace can be truly found. The icon of our Mother Perpetual Help is a letter. It's a letter, not written with ink, but by the Spirit of the living God. It's rooted in grace. She is a letter to all of us, whether we are learned or not, saying to everyone who prays to her with confidence what the Apostle Paul said to his followers in Corinth: be imitators of me as I am of Christ.